The world's upside down, Deborah. The world's upside down. We cannot have, the government cannot be allowed to have British people homeless whilst paying hoteliers, corrupt, rapacious hoteliers, £200 a night to put up people that arrived illegally on the south coast, and put them up not for a week or for a long weekend, put them up indefinitely for years at £200 per person per night. We can't have that. It's an extraordinary tribute to the patience of the British people that there are not Ballymena type riots going on across Britain all the time. It shows the truth of what I've always said, that though racism exists in Britain, it's by no means the worst on the European continent, and if you think Britain's racist, you never lived in France. So, tribute to the British people. But enough is enough.
Starmer just got slammed, and this blow didn't miss. George Galloway went live and tore into a truth Labour never wanted dragged into daylight. No build-up, no restraint, just a direct hit that shattered Starmer's polished image in moments. What Galloway laid out wasn't routine political sparring, it felt deeper, sharper, and far more serious, sending shockwaves straight through Westminster. The calm, controlled persona cracked on the spot, and now the damage is out there with no simple fix in sight.
People get put up in a hotel for years at £200 a night in public money. You cannot possibly tolerate that. It's astounding that it's been tolerated so far. But the fault lies not with the guy in the hotel. The fault lies with the politicians we elected that are allowing that system to continue, and continue over many years and different parties in government. Keir Starmer says he was going to smash the criminal gangs. When are they getting smashed, Keir? More likely you get smashed than you smashing the criminal gang. It's intolerable for a variety of reasons, and money is only one of them. If you put a couple of hundred 20 and 30-year-old guys, single men, in a hotel, in a community, what do you think is going to happen next? Inevitable. I don't need to spell it out to you, especially as you're a lady.
British politics isn't merely unstable, it's fraying fast, and the latest jolt is aimed directly at Keir Starmer. What started as a basic question about transparency has snowballed into a full-scale political storm. At the center is £20,000 worth of high-end accommodation reportedly provided free by a billionaire landlord with major influence. Starmer's response, that no public money was involved, has only fueled suspicion. If taxpayers didn't cover it, then who did, and what came with it? This wasn't a modest spare room either. It was an £18 million Covent Garden penthouse, sleek, elevated, and impossible to overlook. Reports suggest it wasn't used just for rest, but also for campaign discussions, strategy sessions, and party coordination, while the public was told it served as a quiet study space for his son. That explanation failed to convince critics or voters, because this goes beyond appearances, it's about power and access. When wealthy figures give quietly, people start asking about the real cost. That's where George Galloway entered, saying outright what others only hinted at. As Westminster murmured, he spoke directly. This wasn't generosity, it was positioning. He didn't just question the property, he highlighted a deeper issue, a prime minister linked to benefits from a billionaire with Labour connections. Not goodwill. Influence.
You know what's going to happen. 200 single guys in a hotel, in a community. The whole question of alcohol and drugs and girls and boys and crime, it's inevitable. And so, for the sake of social peace in our country, for the sake of the safety of the refugees themselves, we need a different solution to this, and we need it now, because the height of the summer is not yet upon us. And at the height of the summer, That 1,000 a day might become 1,500, might become 2,000 a day. And we never know when the straw that breaks the camel's back.
This isn't just a scandal, it's a power audit. The allegation is that Lord Wad Ali, a media heavyweight and behind-the-scenes operator, didn't only support Labour with cash but with clout. This wasn't routine donor behavior, it was about shaping narratives, guiding decisions, and influencing the message itself. If that holds true, Labour's independence starts looking like fiction. Suddenly George Galloway doesn't seem like an outlier, he's the one pulling the curtain back. As scrutiny grew, Starmer appeared, but instead of clarity, he offered technicalities. No public funds were used, he repeated, a defense so fragile it collapsed under simple questioning. Because this was never about who signed the payment. It was about intent. Why would a billionaire invest in a prime minister's inner circle, support his lifestyle, and provide a political refuge for free out of pure goodwill? That's the question now echoing through newsrooms and living rooms alike, and the silence surrounding it is starting to speak louder than the denials.
Breaking news for you, as if you thought the gravy train had hit the buffers. Well, it hasn't, ladies and gentlemen. More revelations from Keir Starmer. This morning he admits that he took £20,000 in donations from Lord Ali for accommodation for his 16-year-old son to study, in his words, peacefully for his GCSE exams. I presume this means that's part of the £20,000 that was racked up for using the apartment that Lord Ali has, £18 million apartment apparently, in Covent Garden, a penthouse. Now, previously they said they used that for meetings. Previously they said Keir Starmer worked there on the night of the election. Previously they said that this was a place that he used to use for planning meetings during the election campaign. Now he's saying it was for his son to study peacefully for his GCSEs. Well, I don't know how much peaceful studying he was doing while they're all having a party on election night. Really? Seriously? Starmer said somebody offered me accommodation. Somebody? You mean Lord Ali offered me accommodation where we could do that, and I took it up, and it was the right thing to do. No, it wasn't.
Westminster's latest controversy isn't just untidy, it's explosive. At its center is a luxury Covent Garden penthouse, a billionaire with close Labour ties, and a prime minister whose silence now carries more weight than any denial. Starmer faces the kind of crisis modern leaders struggle to survive, a collapse in credibility, because the property in question wasn't a modest spare room, it was an £18 million stronghold of privilege. Reports suggest it served multiple roles, from campaign base to strategy center, yet Starmer maintains it was simply a quiet study space for his son. That explanation hasn't convinced the public, or even many within his own ranks. In a nation where families are forced to choose between heating and eating, the image of a billionaire covering the Prime Minister's housing, and perhaps more, lands like a blow to the gut.
Of fact, he delayed as long as he could, and then beyond that which was acceptable to the parliamentary authorities, the depth, and I mean real depth, of his financial relationship with Lord Ali. No British Prime Minister has ever allowed a billionaire to buy his clothes, buy his glasses, buy his wife's clothes, put him up in a multi-million pound penthouse apartment in Soho in London. No British Prime Minister has ever had the kind of financial relationship with the billionaire Lord Ali that Keir Starmer had.
Here comes George Galloway, long labelled a loud outsider, yet now the one voicing what others sidestep. This was never just about a single penthouse, it points to a power network shielded by wealth and access, and the public is linking the pieces faster than Downing Street can reframe them. Galloway argues this wasn't routine backing but influence. Lord Wad Ali, a media heavyweight with insider reach, didn't merely contribute, he helped shape messaging, operations, perhaps even direction. That leaves Labour looking uncomfortably at ease with elite supporters exerting quiet leverage. When Starmer finally responded, it wasn't with clarity but deflection, repeating that no public funds were involved, a line that misses the core issue. The real question being asked is what Ali expected in return, because in politics, support rarely comes without strings.
Is now widely held in Britain to be screwing the entire country. That's what concerns me. And he is in an improper relationship with the gay Bangladeshi billionaire Lord Ali. That improper relationship is a financial one. Keir Starmer has accepted utterly inappropriate gifts and financial support from Lord Ali in the first instance without declaring it. This
Parliamentary authorities reportedly had to intervene just to secure disclosure, yet the full picture still feels clouded. The public doesn't know how extensive the arrangement was or how long it had been unfolding. There's talk of eyewear, wardrobe expenses, and campaign-related perks, not framed as gifts, but as favors, and those favors are starting to resemble political currency. Within Labour, the atmosphere has shifted. Some MPs are said to be stunned, others reviewing their own records, wary of further revelations. Silence from leadership hasn't calmed concerns, it's intensified them. This was the party that claimed the moral high ground, the banner of reform, yet activists who rallied around fairness and transparency are now questioning whether that image was more branding than reality. As confidence erodes, political fractures widen, rival parties gain ground, and figures once dismissed are finding new audiences among voters who feel sidelined. Because the property was only a symbol, the deeper controversy is what it represents, access outweighing accountability, and the fear that influence behind closed doors can shape decisions out of public view. Lord Ali is portrayed not as a passive donor but as a connected strategist, a broker of influence, and if reports hold, a significant force behind Labour's digital and campaign operations.
Wrong thing to do, you plonker. And then he goes, it didn't cost the taxpayer a penny. Well, that's all right then. I mean, who on earth thinks it's okay to take money from a lord who's loaded in order to put your child in an apartment that he owns so that he can study peacefully? What influence does Lord Ali have on this government? I keep asking the question, I keep getting no answers. Let's talk.
No votes, no official mandate, yet potentially more sway than many elected MPs. That's the democratic strain now in focus. When billionaires can quietly shape agendas while the public receives rehearsed sound bites, trust in the system begins to decay. Galloway isn't only confronting Starmer, he's signaling to the entire political class, and voters are listening. Now each move from Starmer's government draws fresh scrutiny. Was a housing policy shift coincidence or concession? Is Labour's climate drive purely environmental, or also about investor comfort? Even cabinet reshuffles are being viewed through a new filter, influence or merit. Starmer's reluctance to provide direct answers isn't just harmful, it's risky, because silence leaves room for speculation, and in that space confidence doesn't dip, it disappears. In conversations across Britain, one question keeps surfacing: who truly leads, the Prime Minister or those behind him? If this proves more than poor judgment, if it reflects a pattern, then it's not a stumble but the undoing of a carefully built image, the former prosecutor, the steady figure, the promise of order after disorder. Instead, he risks appearing like another polished front, where ideals gave way to quiet deals and transparency bowed to influence. Within Labour, pressure is rising. Some MPs feel caught off guard, others worry about what surfaces next, and the party's once unified front shows signs of strain under mounting unease and quiet alarm.
Power, after telling everyone you're going to be different, you get into power and it's like, oh no, well, we can take money from rich donors. They can't, but we can, because it's different. Myson can go and break laws and go and hang out in my mate's £1 million penthouse to revise for his GCSEs. It's his GCSEs, he only gets one chance. No mate, you get resits. What about everyone else's kids who don't have rich donors to go and live in penthouses for? He has proven himself to be completely out.
At the same time, the media scrutiny is intensifying. Fresh details continue to surface, and the public demand for clarity keeps rising. Reform UK is moving quickly, using the controversy to power its anti-establishment message. What began as a political clash has become a test of credibility, and Starmer is struggling under it. The issue now reaches beyond a single donor, a single property, or even one party. It highlights a system where money speaks softly and leaders listen closely, where strategy is shaped in private settings instead of public forums, and where influence appears negotiated rather than earned. That's why Galloway's argument resonates. He's not just targeting one episode, but the framework behind it, a culture where elite access becomes the price of power, and a political class feels increasingly detached from the people it represents. Public frustration is growing louder, fueled by a sense of being overlooked and misled, and the longer responses rely on technical wording and careful statements, the more frustration turns into anger. Moments like this fracture reputations, divide movements, and push voters from disappointment into disengagement. Democracy depends on trust, and once that erodes, no slogan can easily restore it. Starmer's team may believe the storm can be managed, but public sentiment has shifted from doubt to disillusionment. The question is no longer whether damage exists, but how far it spreads and who else is caught in it. Because this controversy is no longer just about one leader, it raises broader concerns about the integrity of British politics itself, and many now fear that integrity is under strain.